I'm Todd Bookspan, and welcome to your neighborhood real estate show. The hyperlocal real estate show where real estate professionals talk about the neighborhood you live in or the neighborhood you want to live in. This episode is brought to you by homebuyeruniversity.net, your free comprehensive guide to buying or refinancing your home. Click over to homebuyeruniversity.net to get started online today. Hey everyone, I'm Todd Bookspan, and welcome to another episode of Your Neighborhood Real Estate Show, and I am super excited for you. My guest, I've got...
Tara.
I was going to say Kate Keator, but that would have been really bad. So
she is kind of a cater.
I've got Tara Keator right here, and I've got Kate Comeno.
Yes.
Like the car.
You did it.
Yeah. I almost feel like I should cut that out, but that was just so good. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
so you're a team with Keller Williams.
Yes.
And the weird part about it is I just have to say it. I'm going to say it every time I say it. But Keator is like everyone's thinking Cater, but
for sure.
It's Kae.
Keator. It looks like Keator.
Keator.
Yes.
There you go. I spelled it wrong there. I spelled it right up there. All right, that's good. All right, so that's where they would find you.
Yeah.
With .com at the end of it.
Yeah, .com.
All right. I like that. All right. So let's kind of get the show rolling here. So you can already tell we're going to have fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that was just really, I've done this now 20 some odd times and I've never screwed it up before, but till today.
I wouldn't even say you screwed it up.
I think I made it better.
You did.
I think I made it better. And so let's kind of start off with who you are. So the cool part about it is you started in real estate at the age of 2.
Pretty much, or some. It could have even been before that.
Okay.
My parents have been in it for, they were doing rentals and fixing up houses back in Illinois. Then they became realtors. They came out here and they were realtors and custom builders. They were doing just some fancy things to some houses, and then they went 100% real estate agents.
All right, but you grew up in real estate, but then you became a wedding photographer. Were there any other jobs in between?
I had like the few 9 to 5. I worked at 411. When you used to call 411 and be like, hey, I need a number. I was that person on the other end of the line. Like, let me look it up for you.
Information back then, right?
Yes, yes.
I forgot about that.
Yes.
Like literally forgot about it.
Yeah.
All right, so that was you.
That
Thank
was
you
me.
For the help.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And for the times you steered me to the wrong person.
For sure, that I'm sure happened a few times. But no, I always loved photography. I had a camera in my hand as a young kid. When I was in high school, my photography teacher actually said, hey, you're really great. Would you want to help teach my class when I'm not here? Because he was a flighty teacher that would go bowling in the middle of the school day sometimes. Okay. And I would help him teach his class. And then my very first wedding that I got was one of his friends. They said, I need somebody that you would recommend that's cheap. And it was my very first one. I think I shot it for like $395.
All right. Hope you raise your price after that.
I sure did. I've shot like 600 weddings now, but I don't do it anymore.
Well, and it's funny because someone might say, well, how does that make me set up as a great real estate agent? And my gut is, at least from the time that I got married, was there was a lot of attention to detail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in both of the scenarios. I mean, you have a bride and a groom and they're trying to plan something. Details are everything, down to like what color the bubbles are coming out of their bubble maker, kind of a thing. So
we didn't have bubble maker, but that would have been good.
Yeah, so it does help. I think it's just the people for me. Like being there on special days where they really appreciate you and you can be the saving grace when something's going wrong, which also happens in real estate.
Well, I just love that. So how about you, Kate? I know that you didn't start off at 2 in real estate, but you said that you had some connections to it early on.
Yeah, my dad was a carpenter growing up, so I was with him on a lot of jobs that he did and painting houses, all of that stuff. So we got to see a lot of different places, and that's what made me interested in homes. But then I got into more like the science background. I went to nursing school, so...
nursing school totally preps you to be able to sew up a transaction when it's going anywhere.
For sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I care about people, and so that's why I got into this business ultimately, because I want to help people with the biggest transaction of their life. So.
I love that. So you're a team. So tell me, how does that work? Like what whose role? Who does what?
It's funny. It took me a couple of years to convince her to leave her job because she was working at Banner, and I'm just one of those people that needs a right hand, and so I forced her is the word I use sometimes. Nice. But she was excited about it.
Yeah.
She's still here, so that's something good.
Yeah.
She literally called me up one day and said, Kate, I need you to leave your job today. And I was like, ooh, I don't know about that. Give me a couple weeks just so I could give that 2 weeks notice, but
we had talked about it for a couple of years, and it was like we were a little too scared to do it because leaving a job, me being responsible for someone else's salary, that's a hard thing to do. But I will say leveraging was the biggest, most amazing thing I could have done. And Steve Chater actually told me that.
Awesome.
He said, leverage yourself and you will be so glad that you did. And I'm glad that I did. She literally is like me duplicated. Like she does everything that I do and then some.
I love that. So real quick, so just aside for all you listeners, that Steve Chater is kind of an icon in the industry.
Yes.
Co-author of the book Hold, HOLD, on real estate. And ironically is committed to be a guest on my next season of Your Neighborhood Real Estate Show. So I'm going to meet him in the future.
For sure. I would say he is literally the pivotal thing that changed my whole real estate business. I was at a real estate office that charged hardly anything, like whatever. And he's like, you need to come.
That was a good deal.
It was a good deal.
Except for you weren't growing your business.
Right. I had hit a point where I thought, I'm being asked how I can help others grow in the brokerage. And so I hit a cap. And I talked to Steve Chater and he was like, Tara, I know our cap and the things that you have to pay at this office. Because, real estate offices charge different fees. Yeah. And I was like, gosh, we just capped at our last office. Now you want me to come and pay your cap, whatever. And he said, Tara, if I asked you to pay this much, but you would grow your business this much because you're in the right office, you're with the right people, whatever. And I thought, okay, I'll try. Totally happened. And then duplicated even more than he promised, kind of a thing. Yeah. So he was a pivotal reason in me moving to Keller Williams, which was one of the greatest decisions that we made.
Well, I love that. And you talked about experience before. And I think when you have leverage, what people don't understand is that one person can't do everything all on their own. Right. And so what I found is that there's things that I'm good at. There's things that I'm good at and I like, and there's things I'm good at and I don't like. And there's a whole lot of stuff that I'm terrible at.
100%.
Or mediocre at. And so what I found is that as long as I could help the client understand the process and who they're going to talk to, that they were actually going to have a way better experience.
Yes.
Getting away from me and getting to someone else who could actually do the part of that process that needed to be done accurately on time with them to get them across the finish line. That was just a huge game changer for me.
Oh, for sure. Well, I'm really big at staying in your own lane. Like I've mentioned before, it's like, I'm not a numbers person. So it's like, if someone asks, let's talk about the percentages and what my payment would be. It's like, let me get you to an expert, which is one of our lenders. I'm not going to do that. So it's like, I have her to help me here. And it's so great just having people in all the corners to give the better experience.
I use that, you're staying in your lane analogy all the time. And it takes me back to your photography teacher who went to the bowling alley and got you out there teaching.
Right.
Total just look, there's a bird. We talked about that earlier. And so here we are. This market's kind of an interesting market right now. And I say that just every month. I say it's an interesting market. Like it's been my standard line now for
a long time.
Whatever. For 250 radio shows and probably 300 plus interviews. And so right now I think people are more nervous though than usual.
Yeah.
I think just because there's so much media out there giving them misinformation. I think that there is. They're just trying to sell advertising. I think that someone's talking to a friend or relative who lives in, Kansas, and their real estate market's different than ours. So a buyer comes to you, how are you advising them? What are their biggest fears, and what are you having to overcome to help someone understand the market?
It's really interesting because we've had so many buyers on the fence for a long time. And so maybe 4 or 5 months ago, they were like, oh my gosh, I can't get a house. I have to give my child away just to get a house. Well, those same buyers have kind of been through this transition, and watching them go from being so scared to have to give up their child for a house. Now they're like, now there's all these price drops. Am I buying a house that's going to decrease in value so fast? Which again is something I tell people. It's like, if you are in a position where you need to buy a home right now, don't worry about the interest rates. You have to do what you have to do. Like it just is what it is. Don't wait for something to be different, because I promise you it may not be different in a way that will be beneficial to you down the road.
And my favorite quote that I say to people is, are you willing to pay more for the same home down the road?
Right.
Because I really do believe that's it. Everyone thinks they can time the market exactly right.
You can't.
The likelihood is really thin. So real quick, before I get back to the actual subject of buyers, is you mentioned that I have to give away my child. I forgot to mention you have 8 kids.
I do have 8 kids.
So you have one that you could spare one if someone needed you to do that to get them a transaction.
And actually I've had a lot of people say that, like, hey, you wouldn't miss one. Well, I would.
Okay, good.
And we have 8, and we've always had 8, so I haven't given any away.
Okay.
But yes, we do have 8 kids.
Okay, so here they are coming to you, and you said that now they're actually happy to buy, right? Because this market now, you said, has more inventory.
I don't know if I would say happy to buy yet.
Okay.
I feel like buyers are still very skeptical of what's going on. And like I said, they're worried that they're going to buy a house that's going to decrease in value, and they're going to like, oh my gosh, I bought a house that isn't worth that. But at the same time, if you're buying a house now, you'll ride out there's a cycle in real estate. It goes up and down all the time. I mean, it's happened in the past.
And everyone has 2010 and too recent of a memory, right?
Yes.
2008, 2010, the financial crisis.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like, if that was 20 years ago, people would be a little less stressed about
Yeah.
it. But the average person doesn't understand that the loans that have been done over the last decade are dramatically different than the loans that were done over the previous decade.
Right. Well, and if they buy a house now and can ride out that wave, that's what I say. It's like, well, does it really matter if it goes down the next couple of years because it's going to come back up? You know what I mean? They're so worried about their right now investment, but it's like, but your plan is to buy and stay. Your
Right.
plan is to grow your family, and this will allow you to grow your family and live there. So don't worry about if it's going down. When we bought our house in 2009, and we bought it for like $165,000. It was the best one on the market. That was when people were like trashing homes, putting cement in toilets. This one was the only one that we had seen that was not ruined, whatever. We bought it for $165, and guess what? It still went down, and I think 6 months later it's worth $120. We ended up selling it for over $500 or something like that. We wrote it out. We grew our family there. So if you're buying now, you're buying for what you need now. You can write it out. Don't be afraid.
I think the other part is when you go to the loan side is that back then people were getting adjustable rate mortgages and they were shooting up. Their payment would go up $1,000 they couldn't afford, and now that's not the case. I mean, really, 99% of people are going to get a fixed rate mortgage, and then that part's not going to scare people off. You know, they had to qualify. They had to show their income. They had to show their assets. Average buyer has a 100-point higher credit score now, so people aren't just going to walk away. And I think that's the other fear people have. Like, we're going to have a big foreclosure crisis, and ironically, they're at truly historic lows right now.
Yeah. Well, and everybody wants to feel like they come out on top, so they're like, the market's crashing. Let's just wait to buy because it's going to crash. And it's like, I don't know if it's going to crash or not. We have no crystal balls. But the thing is, you're waiting for something. And we had people that waited 1.5 years ago. They've sold their house, took all that money, and they said, I'm going to buy when the market goes down. Well, guess what? It did not go down. And they were renting a house. The landlord was pushing them out. And now they were going to be homeless. They had children and all the things. And they're like, I wish I didn't sell my house back then. So there's always something. You're going to wish that it was different and whatever. But these buyers right now are afraid that the decision that they're making isn't going to be great for them. And so you'll never know. You just need to take a leap of faith and do it. But right now we see a lot of buyers saying, I'm waiting for a price reduction. We'll go out, see all the homes. And they're like, no, I'm just going to wait until they drop at $50,000 or, whatever. And it's like, and then they are upset when someone else gets the offer accepted. And, I would have, whatever. And it's like, no, you really need to just decide what you're up to do and just move forward.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm a data person, so I believe you got to look at the numbers, right? Because, I think that the numbers tell the truth, and you have to obviously decide how you're going to interpret them. But, I think it was interesting to see that, June 28th Cromford report says that inventory peaked in the market, and then now it's actually like 20% lower here 60 days later.
Yeah.
And so I think people are still like, oh, there's more houses out there, and they think that that's going to lead to decline. But if the housing inventory went up and then now it's already down 20%, that tells me the opposite story. I don't know what that story is going to be next month or the month after that.
You don't.
But it absolutely says it's going to be different. So then let's flip the coin for a second.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the sellers, because then sellers all of a sudden are like a little bit freaking out too. Like what are your sellers' concerns, and then what are the conversations that you two are having with the sellers?
Yeah, our conversations are hard right now because no seller wants to hear, like, I thought I could have sold my home for this and now I really have to do this. What we're seeing with the price reductions though too, I saw a price reduction of like $85,000 the other day. And it's because you have this fearful seller. And they're like, oh my gosh, we're not getting an offer in the blink of an eye like we did 6 months ago. But that price reduction is not bringing a ton more activity either. So you're seeing these fearful sellers being like, reduce the price, do this, give them that, do all the things. And it's like, it's not necessarily going to change your game per se. So you're having to explain to them, like, we take it one day at a time. We run the numbers every single day, like make sure that we're where we're at. You do have to do a lot more in this market, calling the other agents to have similar listings and like, how's your activity? I mean, we literally went from having 5 showings a day on average to 5 a month on average. And that's all across the board is what people are saying. I know the luxury market is still kind of booming and they have a lot of activity happening there. But for sellers, I mean, we have one that's been on the market now for 60 days. Ish, something like that. And we've price reduced numerous times. And they even asked me the other day, is this house even sellable? It's an amazing house. Every realtor that's been there has said, this is amazing. I don't know why you don't have an offer. So there's so much left to the unknown for sellers right now. And it's making them very uneasy. And we have a lot of sellers that are also buying. So they're in both shoes. So we have them waiting for price reductions. And then they're like, I'm not reducing my price, so we're still on that fence where people aren't sure what to do. So you just have to have someone guiding them every single day.
I think that's the key, the guiding part, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where, I think it separates the inexperience from the experience. And, I never want to pick on newer agents because I know a lot of new agents and I'm always their biggest cheerleader. But I do find that, if all they've known is the last 2 years of the market,
Oh,
they're not
gosh.
really prepared to help someone truly price and market their home right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, there's so much involved in selling a house anymore. I mean, literally, I used to say, all I have to do is say an address and blink my eyes, and I've got 5 offers on the table. And now it's like we're going back into homes and putting in new carpet. We're painting. We're making it nicer. We're painting that picture that we are the best on the market. Whereas 4 months ago, you didn't have to.
And that sounds like one of the things you're helping your clients do is say if they need the work, you're helping them figure out how to get that work done to make their home get top dollar in today's market.
Oh yeah, I watched my parents be real estate agents for my whole life. My dad started doing that. He would finance the repairs and things to get the houses ready. And so it kind of felt normal to me to be that much more of a servant. So I was like, oh, you need this, you need that. We will handle it all. We'll finance it. And then at the close, then they just reimburse that portion of it. But we handle literally everything, to pods being delivered, painting, construction.
So the pod is to declutter.
Yes.
All right. How important is that?
Very, very important. Like the less is more. You hear it all the time. It's legitimately the way it needs to be. We have junk haulers, and if they can't get all their stuff out, we're like, okay, give us a day and we'll come in, we'll clean out cabinets, drawers, everything. But the thing is, again, you're painting pictures. You're trying to have someone walk into a home and just feel great. Like everything matters now. A clean window, not having dust on that, because you're painting a picture. You want to scream, you want me.
Yeah, I can see you want that person to be able to envision themselves in the home.
100%.
Versus visiting your family and all your family photos and all your other clutter.
It's not just about taking down the family photos too anymore. You really have to take out the clutter so they come in. Why do people want the model home? Because they put all this fancy stuff in there. It's super clean. People love it.
HGTV effect.
Yeah.
Right? They see those pretty houses there and they want their house to be pretty. And it's the same thing and I think if you go down that route, is that you're saying to someone, hey, let's put this $10,000 into your house so that you can actually get $20,000 or $30,000 more. And you kind of see that on HGTV, even though a real kitchen doesn't cost $8,000 to redo. Right. I do know that part.
Yeah, right.
But the part that they put money in and it comes out to be worth a lot more than what they improved it by is real.
Mm-hmm. Well, and with sellers, we would run comps before, and it would just be on the comps. Right now, what we have to tell them, because expectations are so important, is that it's not just about the comps anymore. If you want to sell your home, you have to be the best one on the market. You have to be this great competition. You have to be like, look at me, look at me, look at me, because it's so different. It's just so different anymore. Yeah. Which on top of it, the value of the home, when you're pricing the home out, it's like, well, I know that this house sold for $750,000 a month ago, but I know if we put the house on the market at $750,000 and your goal is to have it sold quick, most likely that's not going to happen.
Well, I'd rather have them do that. What I hear is the person who the house sold for $750,000, they want to get $850,000 for that.
Oh yeah, we definitely are telling people you are not reaching anymore. Where you can't just slap it on the market and hope that you're getting that top of the range. It's not going to happen.
Well, and the good news though is that you already said it. If you're a seller and a buyer, you're going to get the same thing back on the buy side. So it still evens out. People still want, you just said everyone wants to win. Like I'm super competitive. I want it all, but it's your home. It's not really that shouldn't be the bar. The bar should be, hey, can I sell my house for a fair price and buy a new house for a fair price so that my family's in a better position?
Yes, exactly that.
All right, so let's talk about the areas you serve. So I said, hey, where do you guys really focus? And you're like, hey, we do the whole stinking East Valley.
We do the whole valley. Like we were in Glendale yesterday. So we do the whole entire valley. I love being closer to my home because of my 8 children, that it keeps me from being away from them longer. Yeah. So when we do go to the west side, we try to really multitask, get a lot of stuff done over there. But we would on the East Valley. I really love Queen Creek because that's where I live. Yeah. And I can just hop, skip, and jump over to a house, and not be away from
where's
my
Queen
family.
Creek for someone who's listening to this out in the East Coast? They don't know Phoenix, so give me the geography.
Just Queen Creek is southeast of Phoenix, maybe 30 minutes ish. You get a lot of mountain views. It's really awesome. It was a lot more of a farm town.
You have Schnepp Farms there still?
They're still there. I'm actually only 4 minutes from there.
Oh,
I
nice.
love
All right,
Schnepp
the Olive
Farms.
Mill of Schnepp Farms.
Yes.
My family's 2 favorite places.
Oh, yes. See, we love it out there. Yeah. And that's the thing. They're bringing so much more housing out there now. It's incredible. I think every field out there is being filled right now.
It's very sad. Every farmer's given up, but the Schnepp family, they're still there doing fun things.
They're still
for
doing
Halloween.
their thing.
You can go pick some apples there and peaches. I forgot what we picked.
All the things. Yeah, they have a garden It's really awesome.
That's awesome. And so, in fact, one of the places that you live nearby is called the Pecans.
Oh, I love the pecans. I say the pecans, but I know some people that say the pecans.
It's pecans.
All right, pecans it is. So I mean, I'm thinking I know how it got the name the pecans, but tell me why?
It is because there's pecan trees all throughout the whole thing. It doesn't look like Arizona. That's the one thing when people go through this, it's like the styles of the homes are all custom. So you get all different styles of architecture, but you go through there and you don't see a cactus in there. It's all just trees and tree-lined streets. And you literally feel like you're maybe somewhere on the East Coast. And
so someone picks the pecans because of the trees, or why else would they pick Queen Creek and the pecans besides Schnepp Farm and the olive mill, which I like?
It's a very private, exclusive neighborhood. And I know a lot of people that live in there and they really love it. Just the community, I think, is one thing I hear a lot. Like, oh, I love my neighbors and, whatever. But I think it's just the unique style of living. It's a very old towny feel in a sense, even though they're very luxury homes, but it's just because of the way that the whole neighborhood is kind of laid out. And they have another section in there that is not as custom, a little bit lesser in price because you have multi-million-dollar homes in there. And those are really great too. They're all new builds on the back end side of it. So you can kind of cater to everyone.
Yeah.
And if anyone's familiar with like the Arcadia area, they say that smaller portion of the pecans gives them that same feel.
All right, so Arcadia is kind of just Phoenix, and it's old, big acre lots, and then you've got the old ranch style homes, and then you've got the house that they knocked over and built a little McMansion maybe down the street.
Yes, yes.
But a great area.
Yeah, a really great area. Yes, 100%. And it's really close to a whole big shopping center that they're growing, and so it's a really great little space over there.
Yeah, I mean, the word that was coming to mind is the whole master plan thing, because it seems to me like when you're building out where it was just dirt before, and you can build all the amenities that people want. So I know that like the Hastings must have been a big deal because they got a whole subdivision community named after them, Hastings Farms.
Mm-hmm.
Legit that was the Hastings family who gave it up so you could have a house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I live in Hastings Farms and I love it, which is right across from the pecans. But we love it because of what they're building around there with having 8 kids. I know that my kids have potential to have jobs very close to home. I'm one of those. I want them to stay close to home. I told them I would buy a property and build them houses on it if they would just stay with me, because I'm that mom. I just love having them around.
Well, my wife, Tara, not Tara, she thinks we should have a family compound, so I kind of understand.
Yes. So I love that whole thing.
Yeah, just tell my daughter who lives in New York and my other daughter lives in LA that would be a great idea.
I'm sure they would love coming back home to that.
We'll try that out. So talk about Hastings Farm for a minute. Like, what are the amenities there that are most attractive to you?
You know what's funny about the amenities there? It's one of those neighborhoods that you pay a really high HOA and you have none.
Really?
So I can't speak all the awesome stuff about that, but yeah, it's actually one of those things that.
But it must be location and the quality of the house.
Yeah, as far as the quality of the houses, what I really loved about it is that they have every type of home. They have beginner homes, like 1,100 square feet, all the way up to almost 6,000 square feet.
Dang. All right.
Because it's a master plan community minus all of the things, the amenities that I was saying we don't have.
Do you have troubles fitting your kids in 1,100 square feet?
Our house is 4,700 square feet.
Just checking.
Yeah, ours is 4,700 square feet. And when we went there, it was owned by someone else that they had closed up a lot of the living spaces because they had 15 children. So we opened up all of those spaces, and now I kind of wish we had another bedroom or two because, we have a lot of kids sharing rooms and things like whatever. But, I do love Hastings Farms because with the larger homes, there's a lot of families with a lot of kids. That's my favorite part.
All right. See, I think that kind of is the bread on the butter on the bread.
Yeah, butter on the bread.
That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. So all right. So we've gone a lot of different directions.
Yeah.
Here. So let's kind of circle back and kind of wind down. So your last name is Keator, but it's spelled Keator. So KeatorHomes.com is where people can reach you. And then on Instagram, where are they going to find you? You do a ton of video on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I do a lot of very casual, candid stuff on Instagram, but it's Tara the Realtor.
Tara the Realtor.
Tara the
Realtor.
I love
that. Tara, for those who don't know how to spell Tara.
Yep.
And I think that's awesome. And anywhere else people can find you, or those are really the 2 places?
I'm on Instagram the heaviest, and Facebook. But the reason why Facebook doesn't get as much attention is just because I get busy. My hands don't have time to post to a secondary place.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Everyone says, you need TikTok, you need this, you need that, you need this. And it's like, that's the hardest part for me, is it just between driving and texting my clients and texting my children, I got to post to another thing.
Yeah, so that makes it rough.
Can I hire someone to do all of that? Just posting?
What do you think?
Yeah. She's too busy for that now.
All right. So is there anything that we should have talked about that we forgot to talk about?
Gosh, I mean, there's always lots to talk about.
But I feel like we could go for another couple hours.
Yeah, no. Honestly, I think when it comes to buyers and sellers that are listening, just do what's best for you and try not to let the numbers or media scare you. I mean, Kate's mom lives in another state and she's watching the media and she was panicking. Are you guys okay? Yeah. Because of the real estate market, the way that it was being portrayed on the news. Yeah. She literally was like, "Are you okay?" Like, you can tell she was.
Do you have clients? Is everyone running?
No, really. So
no, it's okay, Mom.
It's very apparent what the media can do. And I think, honestly, if you think you need to buy a home, talk to the right realtor and lender and see if it is really the right time for you. Don't listen to the media. Don't think that it's crap. Like, it is what it is. Do what you got to do. Same thing with sellers. It's like, you got to sell. Let's be realistic. It's not 2 years ago market, 1 year ago market. You just got to do what you got to do in the time now. And call me and I'll guide you and I'll smile at you and make it great.
There you go. If you can't tell already, if you bought a home using your team, it would be a phenomenal experience.
It is. I believe that we keep it fun. And we have a lot of people say that they really, really care because they feel like they were cared for and that there weren't questions, like they were just guided the whole way through. And that is like my ultimate goal. I want to take the stress off of the people. It's really the people for us.
All right. Well, I'm sure that all the listeners, you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Kate, Tara, thank you so much.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks for having us.
This episode is brought to you by homebuyeruniversity.net, your free comprehensive guide to buying or refinancing your home. Click over to homebuyeruniversity.net to get started online today.